early. Sometimes it's good to be early. But our show starts at a specific time. You should remember that. Let's get started then, shall we?
Dillon, I don't give a what you think about a co-host and freshen up my show.
It might not be flashy, but sometimes you just got to toss another person to make a statement.
My show's about the People's Podcast. Everyone has a voice. I don't need a co-host. Go listen to one of the other 5,000 shows with a co-host because they don't have a mouth like the big guy.
Opie, are you a career killer with Tim Sabian, yourself, and many others?
Be myself. Never had real issues with those people. They just understood that I was a different bird. The rest of them, though, I'm like, oh, shut up. I'm paying your salary because the ratings are so good, so shut up.
Right.
Live from somewhere, it's
Dillon.
Good whatever to you, whenever you are watching this episode of Cohost Auditions, the show where I do a little self-taped audition to be a second mic of an established show who has that sweet, sweet monetization and a good many viewers rather than just some, which I have. I am your co-host, Dillon. Today's host is Sabine, let me look at this name, Hossenfelder. She is a PhD of physics, and got to be honest, this was actually a fallback. I had a different video in which I previewed for a long time and was giving me absolutely nothing to work with. So I'm late to the game on the Terrance Howard goofing on, because that's what Sabine is talking about in the first video here, is someone who actually has a doctorate, PhD. That's two different things, isn't it? I'm fucking idiot. Oh, and I dropped the F-bomb 2.5 minutes in. There goes potential future monetization on this one. Actually, Mr. Nobody, the recent co-host audition, was the first video I got an email of like, hey, buddy, this is too dirty. It violates our terms of service for you to get this to be monetized. So we'll see if that F-bomb this early drops So looking forward to seeing how this monetization works on YouTube, because I've been following their rules. I've been testing the clips for successful failures, and 2 episodes have been successfully deleted from the public in a row, despite the fact that I'm following the rules and testing it out. But that is not what we're bitching about today. We're bitching about Terrance Howard pretending to know what he's talking about. And it is easy for actors to really have their head way up their ass. I had to, when I was, you hear me stammering. I have to admit that my head was up my ass too when I was on set, and people are just waiting on you hand and foot. The production assistants, they get you anything you want when you're the star of a show or even just one of the players. So Terrance Howard got a real big head on him, and not just physically, and he was such a pain in the ass. Robert Downey Jr. said, get rid of this guy. Get me Don Cheadle, whose very first movie role was in something called Moving Violations. That might show up on Successful Failures in the future, which looks like it won't be on YouTube any longer. Actually, Mike Stoklasa of Red Letter Media said the big reason he doesn't do the Plinkett reviews anymore is because copyright has become an absolute nightmare on the most recent Red Letter Media video. But we are not talking about that. We are talking about Terrance Howard and his
Today I
new
want to
theory of
talk about
everything.
a peculiar case of, let me call it, amateur physics that's recently...
Oh, I need a rim shot for Nimrod there. Hossenfelder, I hardly even know her. Fuck yeah, Nimrod.
attracted a lot of public attention. It's some ideas put forward by Terrance Howard, an American actor who has his own theory of everything that he thinks improves physics. Now, there are thousands of people with theories of something that aren't good for anything, and normally I don't talk about that. I make an exception in this case because Joe Rogan spread these ideas on his podcast, and a lot of people seem to
And Joe Rogan knew what he was doing. He gave him all the rope in the world to hogtie himself with this genius idea that he had to, which we are going to get into. And thanks for your support, A. Smith, dropping in early and really giving me the support. Hey, people who are monetized. A. Smith is throwing the vote behind being the second mic. Even you, Ryback.
to think that physicists must pay attention to actors who want to improve physics. Well, I'm happy to help. So let's have a look. I don't have time to listen to 3-hour podcasts, and if I did, I sure as hell wouldn't listen to some actor go on about his theory of everything. But I saw that he has a book of sorts, and I like books. So I had a look at this, and I'm now at least as qualified to comment on his idea.
This does sound like a European Lisa Simpson, but this Lisa Simpson was not in Maximum Overdrive.
Yes, as he is to comment on modern physics. Terrance Howard.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to say your name when I read your comment. That helps get the endorphins going. I realize that on the shows that I comment on. So thank you for that. I am just stumbling all over myself 6 minutes in. Thank you for that observation, Nimrob.
Howard's key fundamental insight, the basis of his new theory of everything, is that 1 × 1 = 2. Just in case you had any doubts about it, 1 × 1 = 1. That's not a matter of opinion. It's not even a matter of science. It's a matter of definition. The mathematical operation that we...
So I don't think that Terrance Howard even got into this on the Joe Rogan podcast, but when people start to dive into what else Terrance Howard is all about, this 1 × 1 = 2. No, 1 row of 1. That's... I've just... so baffled by this multiplication should be addition that I have to talk about Maximum Overdrive and Herman's Head for a little bit of where we've seen Lisa Simpson in real action. Isaac Walmart, yes, immediately getting on to the. We all remember Maximum Overdrive. Herman's Head, a little more obscure, and actually does not make it to the qualifications of successful failures. It had like 70, 90 episodes. And Luigi Greenberg, I'm glad to see Mike Turbin is dirty. Oh, you son of a bitch! How dare you report for dirty duty? Turbin is dirty. Looking forward to your Eric the Midget show over on the Hack Ride Network.
We call multiplication and the number that we call 1 are defined so that any number multiplied by 1 gives the same number. Consequently, 1 × 1 = 1. We define multiplication this way just because it's useful. You see, if you have only addition and I give you 7 apples, you'd have to go 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 7. The operation of multiplication is a way to simplify this long sequence of addition. We introduce a new symbol, call that times, and write 7 × 1. It means the same thing.
And still, as in-depth as this is, and kind of boring, but she is giving us the facts here. The original video that I was going to play today, even more, nothing, because at least she is dunking on Terrance Howard and saying, hey, guy, I'm not sure if you know this, addition and multiplication do different things.
Howard goes on to write, in order to multiply something by something else, they must be dimensionally equal. This is not correct.
Terrance Howard and Jean-Luc Picard would absolutely disagree on how many lights there are when they are kidnapped by Cardassians, Mark Bass. Terrance would look up there and say, you're right, Mr. Cardassian captor, there are 4 lights.
correct. If you multiply one quantity that has units with another quantity that has units, you multiply the units. If I multiply, say, time measured in seconds with a speed in meters per second, I get a length in meters. This is the case for any quantity, but a lot of things that you can mathematically multiply don't serve any purpose, so we don't multiply them. I could, for example, multiply 18 chopsticks with a magnetic field of 2 Tesla. That would give me 36 chopstick Tesla, but just because that mathematically exists doesn't mean it makes any physical sense. But Howard's...
Are you taking notes, Terrance Howard, that if you multiply chopsticks by pencils, it doesn't necessarily make sense?
Confusion about
Is Doggy losing his
multiplication
mind?
goes so far that he thinks if you multiply a penny with a penny, then, according to the current rules of mathematics and multiplication, that gives you 1 penny. This is not correct. It would give you a penny squared, which isn't a physical thing. But now he has an entire conspiracy theory about how Bank of America miscalculates your pennies. Oh dear. Okay, so he doesn't understand either multiplication or units.
Okay, I think we've got the doggies under control. The doggies understand these units as well as Terrance Howard does. And A. Smith, with a good question, would I bang Miss Hossenfelder here? Physically, she isn't really my type. I am attracted to brains, so I guess we would need to go out on a date, because it's right there in the middle where physically she's not my type, but mentally I do like a brain. Brains are very mushy and tight. That's gross.
Which, let me just say, is a bad start for revolutionizing physics. But how does he get from there to rewriting the laws of nature? Well, as I read on, it became apparent that Howard confuses mathematical relations with natural laws. Yes, in physics, we formulate...
I like that she threw that meme in there of that guy just blinking like, what the fuck are you talking about? That man, Sam Bibley, is not hypnotized by the beautiful eyes of Terrance Howard. And you can get hypnotized. He doesn't even need a watch going back and forth or a big pair of titties when you have such dreamy eyes.
The laws of nature in form of mathematical relations, but that doesn't mean any mathematical relation is a law of nature, since he thinks that's
no mathematical relation, even if that mathematical equation goes both ways.
Something is wrong with 1 times 1 equals 1, and he thinks that multiplication is a law of nature. He now thinks that physics is wrong. He explains the laws of conservation of energy.
Poker face, not her rear. Poker ear, not her rear. You are correct there, Ari Jane. We'll make some type of fucking you in the ear song parody one of these days. Actually, I suppose I can with AI. I've been very wary of AI. Did I pull an AI clip from TikTok? No, I did not. So let's not go down that road. It was one of several that I put in the second half. We do have a science rapper in the second half, so look forward to that.
We might as well pack up and move away, because how can a something multiplied by nothing cause the something to disappear?
There's a song all about it. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. That's why...
Nimrod adding some more to the soundtrack of Poker Ear. Bang the eardrum slowly. Let's see. No. I'm trying to add more songs to this. We might have a whole album of fucking someone in the brain.
There is no law of nature that just multiplies energy by 0. A few pages later, he has concluded that all visible things are composed of the properties of light. This is what the equation E equals mc squared is ultimately illustrating, that energy equals mass times the velocity of light squared. All things are light. Unfortunately, this is not correct. This equation doesn't.
We are magnets and electricity all together, and light is our food. Yum, 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 yum. Except we are not as efficient as plants. We need to eat other things. We can't just take the sun and turn it into energy, and plants turn just sunlight into ropey loads. We need extra intake to make our loads shoot out.
light. You see, the full equation is actually E equals the square root of m squared, c to the fourth, plus the square of the momentum times the second power of the speed of light. If the object you're looking at doesn't...
Okay, we're getting in the weeds here. I'm going to go ahead and jump a little bit as she gives us this equation that Terrance Howard calls shenanigans. We would have to see his rebuttal for what he thinks about this. Thanks for joining St. Just Germany. And we've got two videos from Sabine Hossenfelder. One is on flat earthers. One is on Terrance Howard. As I said earlier, I'm a little bit late to the game on getting to this, but made it eventually to the goofing on Terrance Howard and the mind sex in Demolition Man. That would be great for the mind, but since sex is illegal in the future, and anything that isn't Taco Bell is illegal in the future, as we learned from Demolition Man.
102, he then begins a crash course into particle physics and quantum mechanics. That sounds promising, so let's have a look. It's an elaboration based on a lecture about quantum field theory by David Tong, who I'm...
DJ Electra? It would have to be an audio debate. You are correct, Sam Bibley. The dreamy eyes of Terrance Howard and the fact that he is an actor who can just spout nonsense. I've talked about Quantum Load, what I call the reboot of Quantum Leap. Ernie Hudson sounds great when he is delivering that techno babble. No one else can deliver it as well because he is a great actor, is Ernie Hudson. Not a bad-looking man, but not as dreamy as Terrance Howard.
I'm sure is thrilled to be cited in this groundbreaking work. David is quoted as saying that the idea that the world is made of particles is strictly speaking a lie, because quantum fields are the real building blocks of the universe. Howard seems to think that this is somewhat of a revelation.
Hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo, Robin. I invented quantum fields.
That the world...
Hoo-hoo, Robin. My hand was my friend in the womb.
World is made of quantum fields and not of particles. But what can I say? Yes, the standard model of particle physics, which is half a century old, is a quantum field theory. It is, despite its name, not...
I made a science fiction story, and after the fact, I found that what I came up with in my parallel universes equated to the... Oh, fuck. What was the theory? The multi-worlds theory. It was just fun when I pulled shit out of my ass. And then I found, this is actually a theory of how multi-universes work. And that was long before Rick and Morty. Let's see. I took 2009 is when I wrote that short story. And Ari Jane, she is very noticing of other ladies' physiques. So those clavicles, that represents that she can go.
Not a theory of particles, but of quantum fields. A quantum field, loosely speaking, tells you how many particles of what type are in which place. So even if there's no particle in one place, there's still the field there that tells you that no particle is.
Dr. Ruth, but without the sex talk. It's just highly implied.
There. How it...
And Sam Beckett never leaped inside this lady, whereas Sam Beckett did leap inside Dr. Ruth in one of the rare occasions, actually maybe the only occasion in the original Quantum Leap, where Sam Beckett leaped into a guest star who played themselves.
Howard seems to think there's something wrong with it, because Tong correctly says that the equations can be extremely difficult to solve. So then Howard introduces his new theory, which is that the third power of 1 is the absolute value of pi. And this is the new...
The absolute value of pi is apple.
Condition.
Or pumpkin. The absolute value of pi is yummy. Mark Bass, the Quantum Load reboot hurts. It is incredibly bad. Oh boy. I have copious notes to do a review on Quantum Load, but it really, really hurts. I don't think I can go back and pull clips. Well, YouTube is going to say don't pull clips at all, but I need to demonstrate. Well, actually, also their music choices. There is just so much I wrote about their shitty choice of music. So I do get in the weeds of how awful it is, from the casting to the putting wokeness before their narrative, everything. And that is a problem. Like, these people, the people who created the Acolyte, they need to watch old school Twilight Zone. All these woke folk, you could actually make a point, but you need to watch the Twilight Zone and put the narrative before your message, and you can actually create a good story without using a fucking hammer to bash people on the head of, like, what I believe is right, what you believe is horseshit. Same thing with that Sarah Silverman claymation show, where they were just like, man bad, women great, Christmas Story. That's not important. Even though that's what this is all about in parodying.
Condition of all visible matter. The rest of the book is basically pictures. He does not make a calculation for any measurement result, but complains that, quote, that's one of the biggest problems in the field of science and mathematics. It goes beyond the fact that it's outrageously cliquish. It's as if they never truly left high school, and the silly
Yes, let me eat pie. I am down to eat some pie.
games of unconscious.
And the autistic girl I went on a date with last week, she is not down for me eating the pie.
Children pretending.
Luckily, I've got another autistic girl in the queue. Something about autistic girls, maybe because I do need a fellow weirdo, that's an immediate turn on of, like, oh, you are diagnosed as a fucking oddball? Neat.
To be important adults. In truth, they are just afraid to explore new ideas, end quote. In summary, we have a man who wouldn't pass a primary school maths exam, who thinks that lumping together words and images will revolutionize physics. A man who has...
She just used very great vocabulary to call Terrance Howard a fucking idiot. Let's hear that dunk again, using words that I don't know if Terrance Howard could come back with. He would need a writer to assist him with saying, no, I'm not a dumb fuck like you just called me.
We have a man who wouldn't pass a primary school maths exam, who thinks that lumping together words and images will revolutionize physics. A man who has zero respect for thousands of years of hardworking mathematicians and scientists whose efforts made it possible that you can see him on a screen and listen to him through a most excellent microphone. A man who belittles generations of physicists who have spent their lives...
Oh, she is not done calling him a shithead, knowing not a goddamn thing, and just absolutely disregarding everything that humankind has established to this point because he thinks he great.
Alive to figure out what matter is made of and how electromagnetic radiation propagates and how the universe expands. Achievements that Terrance Howard thinks he can improve on by drawing a few lines and squaring pennies. Now, look, some people have told me that Terrance Howard has a mental health...
I wish I had a drop of Wings of Redemption's Look Listen right there, because she is getting very aggressive without getting very aggressive of saying, look, listen, dumb fuck. What you are spouting here is dangerous, and you are trying to put yourself up on a pedestal. Just be happy that you are incredibly handsome, very rich, and get to have production assistants wait on you hand and foot. Get out of my world.
Health issue, or maybe he's been doing too many drugs, or both. I don't know if that's correct, and I don't...
Terrance Howard may or may not be a drug addict because of this nonsense he is spouting. This has been about a minute and a half going on where she spent a long time supporting her argument of how he is wrong, and now it is just an absolute beatdown without raising her voice and without using the language I would use, such as dumb fuck.
Some people have told me that Terrance Howard has a mental health issue, or maybe he's been doing too many drugs, or both. I don't know if that's correct, and I don't know
if you've been doing drugs. I don't know if you've got a serious learning disability, but it certainly seems like one or both.
To speculate about it. I don't blame him. If you can make it through school with that significant deficits in basic education, then that's a problem with the educational system. No,
Oh boy, that was a hell of a curb stomp while being just very intelligent and articulate and not resorting to how I would resort to. I've said dumb fuck several times again, and I just said it again.
I blame Joe Rogan because Rogan.
Let's go back to you blaming the school system for Terrance Howard being the
Right about it. I don't blame him. If you can make it through school with that significant deficits in basic education, then that's a problem with the educational system. No, I blame Joe Rogan.
He should be a dropout because he is so stupid. The fact that he got through the educational system is horseshit. Very nice way to say to just. She's on fire. Keep going.
Because Rogan isn't stupid. He believes that his audience is stupid. He believes that his audience is so stupid to think they'll lap up any nonsense he throws at them. Is Rogan right? Well, he certainly knows how to multiply his pennies. To me, science is more than a profession. It's a way to understand the world and to solve problems. This is why I'm happy to work together with Brilliant, whose mission is to...
I thought her hair looked different. She's actually wearing the same top, but her hair looks different as she goes on to her ad. And that last 2 minutes there was just absolutely fantastic, of a dignified way of calling someone an idiot. Absolutely correct, Luigi Greenberg. Oh, that was fun. I like to think of myself as a wordsmith, but I could not string along and just be calm of calling someone who has made my profession just absolutely minimalized and say they are an expert with no reason whatsoever. Very well done, Hossenfelder. Sabine, that was absolutely great.
I'm starting to get
more people grinding the gears of Sabine Hossenfelder, and those are flat earthers. I do believe that these people are kind of like the Opie fans Opie Hughes, for those 3 people watching who don't know who I'm speaking of there, not Opie Taylor, who started liking him as a goof. And then some of them actually started liking him for real because the goof just went too far. I believe that's what the flat earth people really are all about, is that this was a goof just to be a contrarian. And some of them started buying into the goof.
About flat earthers. I made a video about this a couple of years ago, and I thought that it was a temporary curiosity, like some religious sect.
Oh, hey, she looks really hot there in that picture. Did you use filters, or have you just aged a little bit since those? Because that is, in asking me, smash or pass, 55-year-olds. I say some I would do, some I wouldn't, and she is, it does appear to be right there on the edge of looking a little too old for me, but that alpha brain of hers is pretty damn hot. And Sam Bibley, I forgot about that clip of Action Bronson absolutely buying into the Terrance Howard stuff. Man, that motherfucker's smart. I don't even know those words, but that motherfucker's smart. And Rogan, just not shutting him down. Well, once again, you have to rub your guest's belly the way that Stern would before that they would come out with the sex talk. And of course, I'm talking of Stern years ago, not very depressing Stern. So you're very angry of your trauma? No, I worked through it. No, you're angry of your trauma. I'm angry for you. No, I got over it.
Sects have a moment in the sun and then disappear. But the flat earther community seems to be growing. On the face of it, flat earth beliefs are completely bizarre. Most flat earthers think that the earth is a disk with a north pole in the middle and the south.
Oh yeah, A. Smith, the birds aren't real thing. Like birds, some birds I could absolutely believe are some surveillance equipment. But hashtag not all birds. Birds that's what the Galapagos Island. That was the main thing that was studied, to see how islands and different species and birds just outright not being real, and also the fact that birds and bees, not just the fact that they have awesome orgies, we are accidentally killing a bunch of those. So repopulating the bird population with surveillance equipment isn't completely crazy. The fact that no birds are real is crazy.
South Pole is a wall on the outside that keeps the water from escaping. They can't really agree on where the continents are or how many there are.
Ari Jane is really getting into Sabine. Yes, Sabine is really looking fit in this video. I think that body might put me over the edge, because big brain, face not great, and sorry for reducing you to looks, but as mentioned on the successful failures of used cars, all guys are scumbags, and that is still available on Twitter. I'll get a Rumble soon, and we'll do successful failures over there, as well as Mel Brooks movies. It's a joke that all of us men are indeed pervert scumbags. So I will go down that road at some point. Hopefully you are a back road type of lady too, because that's just, dirtiness is just hot. But do remember, this was spoken of on Who Are These Podcasts, of the home enema. Carl was surprised about that. Anytime you do butt play, you need a home enema. And now off of the anal talk and onto the smart talk.
Or whether the South Pole maybe extends all the way to infinity. So it's a flat Earth multiverse theory, basically. Part of the reason people believe in this is just a lack of basic science education. So
that's a funny representation. Oh, this guy's probably a flat earther, isn't she? That she got this from, of like, this is bullshit. How the fuck are we gonna stay on this ball? We could stay on something that's flat, but not on a ball. Ooh, King Yeti appears to have some inside information of the real reason Terrance didn't come back for Iron Man 2. I just, as I said earlier, I assumed that it was Robert Downey Jr. saying, no more of this guy.
Some of them think that if the Earth was a globe, then water just run off on the South Pole, pulled down by I wonder what. They also misunderstand how perspective works, how trigonometry works, how cameras work, and on it goes. But it's not just a matter of misunderstanding. If you believe that the Earth is flat, you also have to believe in a global conspiracy that's hiding the truth for no particular reason. For starters, you must believe that most of physics is wrong, and physicists...
I like Mark Bass's point. Why does my cat keep eating birds if they're robots? My cat does not like mechanical equipment. My cat likes meat. And house cats are the most vicious of all the species out there, because they kill for fun. Every other animal that kills for food, kills for sustenance. The house cats are just doing it for the fun of it.
Are just making things up. We're all part of a big conspiracy. Geophysicists, they're also in on it. Astrophysicists, all liars. Everyone who's ever been involved in launching a rocket into space or putting a satellite into orbit is part of that conspiracy too. Moon landings didn't happen. The ISS, not in orbit. Every single photo that's ever been taken of Earth.
The thing is, I could believe that America faked the moon landing if no one else went to space. But something I actually just recently, like within the past year, learned about was Russia going to Venus multiple times. That's a fun little rabbit hole to go down. I don't have the Rumble channel yet, King Yeti. One thing that held me up was you can't change the name. And I was kind of like, I think I've decided on a business name. I'm still dragging my feet of getting the LLC and starting up a T-Public and all that, because the taxes just really intimidate me. I want to do it properly, and I've never done taxes through owning a business, through getting paid myself before. So that does have to happen, all of that soon. And maybe I'll get the software. Maybe I want a tax man. I'm fucking scared that I'm going to do something wrong doing those taxes myself.
Earth from space, fake. Sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it? But then lots of people also believe that an omniscient being keeps track of who they have sex with. A recent representative poll in North America.
Oh, I was reading the chat too intently. What's that about sex, Sabine? Yes, I'm down.
Pretty crazy, doesn't it? But then lots of people also believe that an omniscient being keeps track of who they have sex with. A recent representative poll.
That's just talking about how Jesus is a pervert, if indeed Jesus were real. Jesus, the original voyeur.
In North America found that 5% think the Earth is flat and another 6% aren't quite sure. I'm not quite sure how many people lie in these polls, but there's
Nimrod takes exception to all men being scumbags. Asexual men aren't scumbags, but it's kind of hard to not be a scumbag when your pecker makes you a big old pervert.
There's no doubt.
I imagine that you maybe we can agree in the middle. Maybe not a scumbag, but a pervert.
Oh, that interest in flat Earth ideas has spiked in the past decade, as you can see in the Google search trends. In 2009, the International Flat Earth Society set up a website. In 2013, part of its members set up a wiki and discussion forum. Around 2015, the topic started to appear on YouTube and spread from here. In 2017, the first Flat Earth conference took place, which attracted a lot of media attention. YouTube made big changes to its recommendation algorithm, and interest tapered somewhat off after that. But rather than just fading away, in recent years, interest in flat Earth has been on the rise again. It's probably to no.
All right, we have come to a middle ground. Perverts, all men are perverts except for asexuals and Hank Hills.
Small part because of TikTok, which has now become a haven for flat earthers. Scientists don't take flat earthers seriously, and I can see where they're coming from, but I think it's a mistake. To me, flat earthers are the first symptom of a much bigger problem. They show.
Is that part of the flat Earth conspiracy that when the comet hit, dinosaurs were flung into space? I like that physical representation.
Symptom of a much bigger problem. They show us what happens when people realize they can't understand modern science, don't trust scientists, and therefore throw out even the most basic scientific knowledge on the rationale of skepticism. Flat earthers are somewhat extreme in that they're actually throwing out evidence that they could test themselves if they weren't so bad at science. But the underlying problem is much deeper, because in most of modern science, the average person can't test evidence.
The sun and the moon just look like they're having so much fun there. I want to believe it. Wee!
For themselves. This is why I think it makes sense to identify the origin of this problem. And some scientists have actually studied this. They found that the scientific literacy of flat earthers tends to be well below population average. And
Dunning-Kruger, there is Dunning-Kruger in action. Oh boy, I think that's just been how humankind has been for all of eternity, is that the ones in charge are the Dunning-Kruger sufferers. That is why they just are so confident of their decisions, whether it be idiocy or actual good ones every now and then.
Time, they're much more confident of their scientific knowledge than the average person. On top of this, we then get echo chambers in social media that reinforce their misjudgment. The trouble is that these two issues, lack of knowledge and an inability.
I should have hit the mute on the mic there. That wasn't a cough, but that was a noise unnecessary to send to my viewers.
Ability to recognize this lack of knowledge are bound to become increasingly widespread, simply because, unfortunately, scientific knowledge isn't heritable.
Widespread, just like that girl I saw on Strip Chat. Her widespread is just so extreme. E-fucked picked up on it. And I'm like, oh, I know her. Of course they picked up on that widespreader.
Were born.
She got a camera, too. The camera works internally. So you can see how that widespread works both on the outside and the inside.
without knowing anything of modern science. We have to learn everything. And the more sophisticated science becomes, the more learning that requires. Sometime in the middle of the 20th century or so, we reached a point where modern science just stopped being comprehensible to anyone without a special degree. And this is still the case. I don't really understand. And at the same
I have a special degree, yay! And I just backed that up, didn't I? Very much like Juvenile suggested. There we go. We're about where we were.
Point where modern science just stopped being comprehensible to anyone without a special degree, and this is still the case. I don't really understand how CRISPR works. I've no idea what Teichmuller theory is. I don't know how phones work. And
Aliens did it.
I yet have to figure out how to properly fertilize our lawn. There's just too much knowledge in the world to...
Human shit doesn't work. We have tried that before, and the human shit is just for laughs. You have to get the chicken shit to fertilize your lawn. And got to get one of those yellow books, A. Smith. Learning is for Dummies.
To learn it all.
Learning for Dummies.
And unfortunately, no one has yet developed a pill for quantum mechanics. But you don't actually need to learn any physics to see that the Earth isn't flat. Even leaving aside that it requires you to believe in this huge conspiracy, flat Earth ideas have a much bigger problem. Is that you can't do anything with them. You can't use them to do as much as predict sunset and sunrise, let alone tides or solar eclipses or the paths of planets. You can't calculate airplane routes or understand satellite navigation. Even if you know nothing about how scientists do calculate these things, it isn't hard to convince yourself that someone, somehow, did manage to actually calculate when the sun arrives.
Nope. I figured it out. Me. For all of humankind, no one figured it out. Everyone's been wrong, but me. I am the expert. Yeah, and the who qualifies as experts? That does, like I've said before, I don't consider myself a chef, but in the company where that's a chef. All right, I'm a fucking chef then. If these are chefs, sous chef, I'll accept. I am a great second in charge in the kitchen, and first in charge. Oh, that's a chef. Oh, I'll be a chef. So yeah, the throwing out. This is an expert. Some of those do give these self-proclaimed "I know what's going on" type of people extra ammunition, because expert is kind of just shot out like a rope.
Arise and when solar eclipses will occur. And those were not the people who believe that the Earth is flat. Why do flat earthers not realize this? I suspect what's going on is that they don't have
the flat earthers don't like big tits. That's what's going on.
Faintest clue how modern science works. They might actually believe that drawing a rotating blob on a disk in Blender is the state of the art in physics. So what are we to do? There'll always be people who distrust scientists, and that might not even be a bad thing. But I think it's a mistake to ignore flat earthers. And I do have some sympathy for them. I really do. They're trying to figure out how nature works, and that's a good thing. We should just...
But actually, looking up the research that others have done, fuck that. Let me just put this together myself based on nothing. And A. Smith, yeah, pointing out that part of Alaska that gets no sunshine for months on end would make you believe that the Earth is indeed flat.
Encourage them to get better at it. And then maybe one day they'll figure out that it's actually much easier to explain their observations if they stop believing that the Earth is flat. Another reason I think we should take flat earthers seriously is that a lack of science education is more of a societal failure than a personal one. Luckily, there's an easy way to grow your scientific background knowledge.
Oh, Norway too? Us Americans don't know anything that's not America. So Norway has that long stretch of darkness as well. Or is it a long stretch of lightness in Alaska? Oh boy, American education system strikes again. Well done, guys.
Knowledge, which is on brilliant.org. I really like Brilliant's courses because they get...
Oh, and on to the plug again of Brilliant. And oh, yeah, there's a good picture. Absolutely smash there. You have a undoubtedly smash rather than right there in the middle. So that was our main segment. I actually didn't pull any more for our main segment. I had Sabine dunking on Terrance Howard and then talking about flat earthers. We actually got through this a lot quicker than I was expecting.
YouTube has removed.
What else do you have over here on your channel? String theories have calculated the value of pi. It's yummy. We established that earlier. Why do people hate scientists? Sure.
A lot of.
Let's drop in why people hate scientists for a few minutes before we go to the second segment of a science rapper and, of course, a clown lady. And then we'll get on out of here.
People don't like scientists. For a long time, I thought that's okay. I'd rather be.
I blame Batman. He's very unlikable when you meet him in person. It makes you turn against all scientists.
Feared than liked. But recently, I've begun to wonder just what's going on. Scientists are kind of annoying, all right, but are they any worse than other people? What gave me a pause were the results of this recent poll in the United States, according to which 7% of Americans think that scientists are not likable. 7% think that scientists overall are not likable? That seems a lot to me. Then again, for all I know, Americans think that 7% of people in general are not likable. One shouldn't extrapolate from a place where they eat deep-fried butter on sticks to the rest of the world, but we certainly see the same thing in
deep-fried butter? People put a whole stick of butter in the deep fryer? This one is actually new to me.
Other countries. In the UK, a prominent case is Hilary Cass, a British physician who agreed to lead a review of the.
Well, I can see why a lot of Americans don't like her, because that is a pass and not a smash, no matter what.
Scientific evidence for medical treatments of transgender children. The report concluded, as several other reports before, that the evidence for the beneficiality of the treatment is generally weak. That's the same.
Oh, I actually didn't pick up on that misspelling there from A. Smith. That vanilla ice cream and apple piss is awesome. But apple piss would get us cider or juice, just like I talk about the trees coming pollen and they shit out oxygen. So some things in nature that are piss and shit are likable.
Same conclusion I came.
Chicken shit, fucking nasty, but it makes the crops grow.
To in my video on the topic 2 years ago, and going by the verbal abuse that I had to endure, I was not surprised to read that Cass had to ask for police protection at some point. In Germany, we have a very visible example in the current Minister of Health, Karl Lauterbach, who is the rare case of a scientist.
He looks like the Riddler, doesn't he? Throw a green mask on him, and it looks like that he is very against scientist Batman. As we all know, Batman's a scientist.
In the parliament, and who had the unenviable task of steering Germany through the COVID pandemic. The amount of hate you see in this man's social media replies is unbelievable. 2 years ago, several people got arrested for attempting to kidnap him.
He looks like the Riddler in several versions of Batman. Some of those look like the Riddler in that 3.5 fucking hour movie. I would have liked that movie. Maybe at 2.5 hours. 3 hours, too much. No. Long movie violation, which Used Cars did indeed get a long movie violation, but it absolutely overcame that long movie violation by turning the silly comedy into an action movie with shitty cars. That was so fun. The fact that Used Cars' big action sequence at the end is a mile of shitty cars doing these stunts.
A final example I want to mention is that of Michael Mann, a climate scientist who recently won a lawsuit. He had sued 2 writers for comparing his data analysis to molesting children. Now, those are extreme examples in areas which attract a lot of public attention.
So that's where we're going to go. In the 1950s, gay was equal to kid touching. And the route we're going, the scientist is going to be equal to kid touching in the future type of thought. Thanks for reaching out, douche of the Dabbleverse. And I think I probably should have asked Carl Hamburger earlier to guest star on Who Are These Podcasts, because after he got Paco to come on, it sounds like the floodgates of every single chatter is like, you got Paco? What about me? What about me? What about me? Whereas I was just trying to build up my resume a little bit before asking to co-host. But I did drop in on about a year ago with Stuttering John's Shuley Detractor Show. Carl let me drop in on there. Didn't get me many subscribers as I was hoping to. And that concept, it just stopped being fun when Stuttering John returned. So I spent 2 weeks developing it because it would have been timely if I just would have came out the box, but it would have been fucking garbage. Stuttering John's Shuley Detractor Show, just like Stuttering John's shows are.
You expect the science to be controversial, or at least you expect the public to treat it as if it was controversial. But that doesn't explain the personal attacks on the scientists who do the research or who must decide what to do in light of that research. So why do so many people hate scientists? I've come up with a bunch of hypotheses for that. The first one is that scientists just aren't likable. They're arrogant assholes who look down on others, and they're a good...
She kind of has a dominatrix thing going there. And I never thought about that before. I bet a scientist would be a good top. Maybe not a 100% switch, so they would have to be open to the polyamory for me. But if I get a nice 100% switch who I get along with, don't even need the polyamory.
Good reasons to hate her.
But look at her. She is not a 100% switch. She is an absolute top. She does not want to be the bottom. She does not want to switch off. And that's just an actor, isn't it?
On them. However, I don't think scientists have markedly different personality profiles from the rest of the population. Some are more likable than others, all right. But that doesn't explain the bulk hate. My second hypothesis is that it's a case of shooting the messenger. Scientists, especially those who go into policy making, often have the job of delivering bad news. Hey, this pandemic is a real thing and we need to do something about it. Hey, climate change is a problem, and the longer...
Absolutely right, A. Smith, and explosion therapy helped me through some of my biggest issues. So a big thanks to Bob Wiley and Dr. What the fuck? Dr. I can't remember the other character's name in What About Bob? It was holy shit, now I'm blanking on the actor. The guy from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He's very famous, and
we
just
wait,
move on.
The more expensive it'll become. Hey, actually, this medical treatment doesn't work as advertised. Science often doesn't give us the results that we'd really like to hear. And one way to try and make unwelcome conclusions go away is to attack those who did the research. My third hypothesis is
Detroit, an absolute smash. And some of these videos, she is looking hot. She has got quite the body and the brain, absolutely 10 on 10. I was saying that an absolute maybe for me, but Detroit saying a smash all the way.
Is jealousy. Scientists tend to not be super rich, but they usually have an above average income and reasonably good jobs. In addition to this, scientists' work is valuable and valued, and it's easy to see that some people might not like that other people indeed listen.
Thank you all for buzzing in on Richard Dreyfuss. Dr. Leo Marvin, as portrayed by Richard Dreyfuss, right there on the tip of my tongue, and I could not remember it. Apparently, Richard Dreyfuss did not get along with Bill Murray at all. And Bill Murray is it's coming out, both Bill Murray and Chevy Chase were kind of dicks, which explains why they got in a fist fight when Chevy Chase came back. The two dicks, you need an Eiffel Tower to happen. When the two dicks happen, punch in the face. A big old load in the face is what he got.
Listen to scientists. But I find this hypothesis rather implausible because there are many other professions where this high-profile jealousy is almost certainly much more pronounced. Think of artists or actors or super athletes, everyone who makes a lot of money and is constant.
people that make a lot of money, like those great scientists who tell us that cigarettes are great for your health. There was thank you for smoking. I loved when he said this guy could disprove gravity.
Being interviewed. Yes, people in these
We have found Deitoi's type, and she's not completely my type, but that might be my type with a little bit of learning. So a sexy brain with a hot body is Deitoi's type. That gets her to go gay.
professions don't receive the same kind of hate. It's rather that you have one camp of people who love them and another camp which just doesn't care. My fourth hypothesis is that it's nothing to do with scientists, is that people don't like science. This hypothesis has two aspects. For A,
Science hard. Fuck this shit.
that they don't like that facts are not opinions and you can't debate them away. And 4B is that they don't like the particular process in which they believe science is currently being pursued. My fifth hypothesis is that it's really just anti-intellectualism. A lot of people don't like it when someone's smarter than they are. And since they know they won't outsmart scientists, their course of action is to dismiss the value of intelligence entirely. While that might be part of the story, I suspect that this is a phenomenon which develops only within certain social contexts. Like even in Germany, if you look at where the anti-vax...
Oh, you Germans. Oh, here, she was getting on to a point here that one of the beloved chatters just got on. A. Smith, she's getting on this point now.
Sit, they tend to cluster in certain areas. I think this makes it highly likely that much of this anti-intellectualism grows out of a desire for social cohesion. My sixth hypothesis is that people are just afraid of scientists because
burn it to the ground. And going back to What About Bob? Actually, no, it was Groundhog Day that Harold Ramis directed Bill Murray in, and knew damn well that Bill Murray gets miserable as filming goes along. It is quite a strain on you, being on set 12, 14, 16 hours a day, depending on the production, being the main star, that you have to be there all the time. So knowing this, Harold Ramis put all the jolly Bill Murray scenes up front and all the surly Bill Murray scenes at the back of the filming schedule. So his natural, just once again, like What About Bob, of the two characters not liking each other, as the two actors didn't like each other, the naturalness of Bill Murray's absolute excitement to be in a movie and starring in a movie wanes and goes away as surly Bill Murray comes around.
Because they knew that science has changed the world dramatically and it'll probably continue to do so. They don't want that change. I clearly like this explanation best. Unfortunately, I think it only works for some areas of science, like, say, gene editing or artificial intelligence. For many cases, it doesn't really work. No one's afraid of yet another particle that no one will ever measure. And my seventh and last hypothesis is that people don't hate scientists. I'm just imagining this. I spent quite some time trying to find data on how likable members of different professions are.
Oh, so it's part of her personality that she has problems believing that she is likable. Yeah, I have that too, and I need to overcome it different times, and I overcome it, and then it comes back. So we do have that in common, of believing just in general, people don't like me. No, people like me. I am good. And now I'm getting into the Stuart saves his family type of rhetoric. I'm good, and gosh darn it, people like me. So just repeat those words over and over again, Sabine, and it will help you get rid of those
generally
thoughts.
Perceived, but didn't find anything. So maybe it's all in my mind. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. To me, science is more than a profession. It's a way to understand the world.
And once again, she's giving her ad for brilliant. And if she is a reptilian, I bet that that does give her another thumbs up on having quite a hot, long tongue there. So now we will go to the second segment. Loaded that up with one. I said load. I wonder if that was the right one to choose. But anyways,
YouTube
we're
has
done with Sabine for now. Thank you, Sabine. So there's some more of her videos. Yeah, we're not doing any more today. We are going to a science rapper. We have from TikTok, L. Cordova, giving us some science beats.
Very slight compressions in space-time.
Earth here. We got space-time compressions, gravitational waves, signals coming from the pulsar timing array. We're using spinning stars as a telescope to watch some old black holes doing dose-to-dose. Now, these waves could be coming from dozens of things. Dark matter, wormholes, even cosmic strings, because the universe
Smash.
is old. It's been busy as hell, so where the ripples come from is kind of hard to tell. But the drumming and the thrumming of the waves that are coming is the summing of a humming that's...
Now, see, this is how I can remember things. I remember C3H8 is propane thanks to Hank Hill. You make a hot beat, and you could get the public to remember what these different particles are.
Becoming so stunning, and it really paints a beautiful tapestry of the ancient cosmos and its majesty. Look, we're just a little planet in the Milky Way burbs trying to understand the universe and how it occurred, and now we have a brand new way to observe, so it's just another win for the whole planet Earth. Well done, guys.
We have a sexy rapper scientist. So as good of a speaker as Sabine is, if she were to get in a science rap battle, El Cordova has the upper hand. As we mentioned, oh yeah, and I forgot to switch to this type, because it just makes sense to me. So that first one, I forgot to switch to that screen type. The second one, I am remembering to switch to this screen type as I bring up the overlay. Bam. And now she is going to respond to Neil deGrasse Tyson as Pluto, or in favor of Pluto, rather.
Pluto had it coming from the beginning.
Neil, sometimes you're cold as hell. I felt that shade from miles away out here in the Kuiper Belt. Lest you forget, I'm a glacial bitch. I'm a demon made of ice. You know my surface temperature. I'm cryogenic when I take the mic. Look, you and all your metrics now.
Fuck you calling me a dwarf planet. I'm as cold as ice, and now you gonna get some of this.
That's too small, orbit eccentric, criticizing my shape and size with a geocentric aesthetics. Nah, I ain't clearing my neighborhood because some Terran Karen suggested, and I might have moved on from a coup de grace, but don't you think that I'll ever forget it? Now I'm living in glory, king of the doors with an origin story. Y'all missing me sorely, but these ice potatoes out here adore me. P5, faux fum, when the sun goes red and the giant
Ice potatoes. Oh, hello.
comes, bad day for Earth, but I'll have an...
We've heard of potatoes from Minnesota. There should be some ice potatoes from Minnesota. That psychedelic potato didn't last long. You should have chosen another filter other than the psychedelic potato, because there was already a potato.
Ask you though, until then, good luck, love Pluto.
And one more from El Cordova. We had two about science shit. Now some Star Trek shit. On to more of my expertise.
Jean-Luc Picard likes his tea hot. Replicate, don't need no teapot. Janeway likes coffee. She'll fly in nebula clouds. Just
Teapot? Yeah, give me some THC in my tea. I'm sure we can get that out in California. Yay. You can get spicy hot Cheetos that are THC infused. I never looked for the tea bags with THC in them.
to find it. Archer drinks sweet tea on his show. Only 4 seasons for him, though. Hot wrecked is Geno's for Cisco.
Make it so.
Romulan.
I actually didn't realize that Cisco had a regular drink. I just thought that he only drank Vengeance against the Delta Quadrant.
Ale will get you wasted. Warp core breach check works on the station. Klingon blood wine sweet like candy. That shit bites like a Saurian brandy. Rising Mai Tai got me fly.
What was it? Root beer? No, cranberry juice is the drink of warriors, as Worf called it.
I am 1 Algebran and I'm warp 9 and I'll be lining them up like Guinan. At 10 forward, get inside it.
My visual processors and motor cortex, they are malfunctioning.
Find us on the starship, drinking that hard shit. Darts at the bar with Damara and Kanar shit. Yeah, we're getting ripped, but you know we're gonna sip when the Vinny 46 Chateau Picard hits. Oh no, here I go. Now I'm flowing in this beat like Odo, Verso, Quattro. Thought so, cause I can translate shit like Sato. Deal me in the Congo, spinning on the Davo, in the hollow. Sherlock Holmes, drinking scotch with a shot flow. But we're not though, we're in the cosmos, backyard dealing with the space dish Chapo.
Red alert.
Eeny, meeny, miny, feed, 5-foot bomb. Pour me a little bit of that Canuckian rum. Federation credits or Latin Corks at the bar pouring 2 for 1s. And I don't want synth, they'll give me raw. I don't even need a straw. Pour them drinks, fizz and pop. Bottoms up and
Applause.
You forgot the cranberry juice, the drink of the warrior. Ah, well, you hit almost all the bases. There is only one base that you missed on there. Cranberry juice being the drink of a warrior. And now on to the final segment. As usual, we have a clown lady. Oh yeah, it's been a while, Sam Bibley, since I checked out the epic rap battles from history. She would be very well in there. So here, well, we have a comment. Not gonna lie, I was expecting a clown. Kind of disappointed now. Yeah, me too, commenter. And there is no sound on this one. So we have... There we go. We have a jiggly clown. And those are... She must be quite young. Those boobies being that big and that perky and that jiggly, you were probably no older than 23. Miss, what is your name? Switch Kitty. Ooh, a Switch Kitty. Sounds like a 100% switch to me. Hooray. That is what I am looking for, certainly. So she did have some sound to that video, but this one is included because when TikTok gets rid of the sound, they just mute it. They don't just take it down even after you check. Checking, following your rules and still deleting my videos.
Why are you acting so nervous? And why are you sweating so much? And why do you look so hungry? And...
No, wait. It's not what you think. This is a big misunderstanding. You've got to believe me. Listen, I am telling you. You better listen to me, SpongeBob.
You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
Ooh, see, hearing her speak some Klingon, that would be really hot. Getting the not a moaner or a screamer, a guttural.
And then you get this picture, and then I take her to my penthouse and I freak it.
Detroit and I have different tastes in ladies. It is sexy, mature science women who unlock the attraction in Detroit that she never knew about. For me, it's lots of things. It is lots of things. I am quite the perv for all types of different ladies. Oh, and lost the audio on this one too, but I kept it around because boobies. And I guess I should keep on talking through this as she has her knockers all in our face. So thank you for that. Don't know what you said, but oh well. The visual was still great. I do need to make this an audio only format. I need to hire someone. I need that actually goes after I get the LLC and the business. That's a write-off. I don't want to start paying someone before I get those steps in place. But seeking a producer to go back with this backlog of co-host auditions and other shows. Not the TikTok show. That's too visual. As Carl Hamburger said, he's trying to keep his social media show to be also worthy for audio only, but I'm throwing in the towel on my TikTok around the clock. And I believe Tuan Ni will be back next week. I don't think we have our reverse dunk tank this week, but I do believe we've got Tuan Ni and the reverse Vietnamese dunk tank coming back next week, which was mentioned as a favorite yesterday on Electrify's midday show with Spurgsnake. And yes, you guys were correct. I was working and unavailable, and I do have to go to work after this. So we have one more from our clown lady before we start getting on out of here.
Want to dress up like ladies? Wouldn't that make us kind of fruity? What's the matter? Scared you might like it?
Some Simpsons audio and some description underneath, changing the words of dress like ladies to dress like clowns. And I got paid to dress like a clown, but I haven't done it on my own. So I guess I didn't like it particularly much. It's a pain in the ass, especially the official clown makeup. But a lot of these clown ladies that we do see are doing it just for show. So they probably don't have the official oil-based clown makeup that you can go around and sweat in and it doesn't run. So, it's probably just for looks for most of those. Chat full of dudes with two chicks and only one getting any action is the other chick. Yeah, we've got our two ladies falling for each other. Thank you for joining in on this sausage party and making it a little less testosterone-y. I thought I had a play on words there, but I'm going to go ahead and abandon that joke before we need to send in Duke Phillips to admonish me for not having a joke there. That is all for today, and I'll be back tomorrow. And shill segment, haven't done that yet. I've been throwing it at the end rather than in the middle. I noticed when I threw it in the middle, people would just get on out of here. So throwing the shill segment at the end where I thank you for watching and chatting. That helps out the algorithm. So does liking the video and commenting after it's over. So help me out getting to 500 to get a little side income. And then hopefully one day quitting my shitty job. It wasn't shitty to begin with, but it's an easy job. But then you have me doing other people's jobs because I'm only one of the only ones actually worth a shit there, and you're driving me off. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, the St. Cloud Moron Show. It looks like we wrapped up the divorce angle with the Imholtz last week. So rechristened from the St. Cloud Divorce Show to the St. Cloud Moron Show because Aaron Imholt is gonna Imholt, and I've got to stay accurate with my title for the show. So just like Valerie turned into the Hogan family when, was it Valerie Bertinelli, said, fuck this shit. The St. Cloud Divorce Show is now the St. Cloud Moron Show. Instead of saying this is a brand new show, it's the same show. It's just the fact that Valerie Bertinelli said, I'm not going to make any more appearances on this show built around me. And the network was like, we want to keep making this show. So we are going to keep this going with Audio, with the people who we still have under contract here. And was that Alan Thicke? No, that wasn't Alan Thicke, was it? It's been a long time since I even thought about that show. So thank you all for joining. Minnesota Moron has a better ring to it, says King Yeti. Yeah, the reason I called it the St. Cloud Divorce Show is kind of to go along. It sounds similar. Steel Toe Morning Show. St. Cloud Divorce Show. Minnesota Moron. It does have some fun alliteration there and sounds better. So thanks for that idea. It might be re-christened to the Minnesota Moron Show instead of the St. Cloud Divorce Show. I'll think about it. Just like I've been thinking about what my name should be on Rumble for way too long. I am going against what Hackride suggested on my name and leaning in to the other name that I was going to use for the business and the channel. And yeah, I won't be able to do Successful Failures anymore on YouTube. So tapping out of that show on YouTube, really good traction for the last two episodes until they were like, nah, getting rid of the dirty work and the used cars, which we approved when you tested. But now, on second thought, fuck you. We're getting rid of it. Minnesota Moobs, suggested by Mr. Blue Sky. St. Cloud Stupid Mo. Oh, Mo. I prefer to differentiate St. Cloud from Minnesota. Deitois wants to make sure that we keep the St. Cloud in the St. Cloud and not to the greater Minnesota. So, oh yeah, and the potato, the Minnesotan potato, the very northern Minnesotan potato. He didn't hold on to that northern Minnesota gimmick for long, did he? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh yeah, that's also someone. I need a little help getting this over 500. I need to reach out to a few other people in this community who actually have a big old following. But thank you for following me, and thank you for joining. But you are now free to go away.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
Places all. All join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LS, MFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right and left 8. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.